Okay, this video is going to be on loading a cap and ball black powder revolver. This is black powder substitute. Has a letter P on it for a pistol. If it had an R, it would be R for rifle. And so this grain of powder, the size of it is called 3F for pistol. Rifle would be 2F. Cannons would be like 1F. And the flintlock type of muzzle loaders would be like a 4F for ignition and stuff. The smaller the grain of powder, the faster the ignition is. So you can still use 2F and stuff like that if you want to, 3F, 4F. You just get a little more velocity if you're using a smaller powder. So this gives you more velocity in a pistol than the rifle powder would. But it's still usable. So this is a Traditions Model 1860 6-shot revolver. It's Army, so previous like military weapons, Civil War type thing. So what we want to do is make sure there's no primers in it, and put it on a half cock, which is one pull back on the hammer. Alex Baldwin special. And you turn it and make sure there's no primers in it. And if there's no primers in it, the gun can't fire. I have 3 of the 6 cylinders loaded with the powder and the lead round balls. So I'm going to show you how to do it. This is measured by volume. So on here there's some numbers, and they're in 10 grain increments. So you want to measure how many grains you want to put in. It's not by weight, but you can measure by weight. So I'm putting 30 grains of the black powder substitute in for each cylinder. It's not capable of taking much more than that with the round balls. You can also use like conical bullets, lead bullets. About 210 grain would be about the most you could do in something like this with 30 grains of powder. You can use as little as maybe 15-20 grains of powder if you want to. Depends on what your purpose is. My purpose is for protection while I'm hunting. So about this much powder will give me 350 to 400 foot-pounds of energy with each one of the projectiles at the muzzle. So that's pretty good velocity and pretty good protection. It's able to stop a medium-sized animal. So it's on a half cock, and then I measured out 30 grains of powder by volume in here, and then I poured it into this little plastic holder. And then I take it and I line up the cylinder, and make sure you never point the gun towards your head or anything dangerous where you could hurt it. Then pour in the powder. And then when you're measuring powder, you never tap. You always just pour it and then measure it. You don't go tap, tap, tap and make it settle. But on the gun, when I put the powder in, I'll go ahead and tap it to make the gunpowder settle down further in the cylinder. And it'll drop about maybe a 1/16 of an inch. And then what I do is I take the round ball or the conical bullet, and I'll put it on top of where the powder is. So right there is where the powder is, right in there. Tap it, and then put the round ball right on top. You kind of press it down just a little bit. Now the round ball is wider than the cylinder. The cylinder is about .45 or .44, whatever. So it's a 44 caliber. So it's probably .44. But the the round ball is .454 in diameter. So it's wider than the cylinder. It's because you want it to be extra tight when you push it down in, so no moisture gets to the gunpowder and you don't want things falling out. So now that that's lined up right here, I'm going to turn it to where it goes right in the middle of the cylinder right here. So it's right lined up with this, but right in there. Okay? And now I'm going to pull down the lever right here, and it's going to push down on top of the bullet, the ball right here. Okay? So you can see that it's going to come down and it's going to hit. So now you can see it right there. It's right on top of the cylinder, on top of the round ball. Okay? And then I'm going to push it down until it seats inside. You have to make sure that the round ball goes even with the cylinder or below. Otherwise, when you rotate the cylinder, the round ball will catch on the gun, and the round ball in that part of the cylinder will stop and it won't be able to be cycled. Then you go to the next one. Pour black powder into there and put another bullet in. It's a good idea to only load 5. So you can load 5 and leave 1 empty, and then when you have your primers in and stuff, and it's in a loaded position with the primers in, you want to rest the trigger, the hammer, to where it's lined up to where it'll be between the nipples that hold the primers. So I'll show you how that looks. You do that on in the middle of a half cock. Now the cylinder's froze. And you can see the nipples are to the left and the right of the hammer. And I cannot move the cylinder, so the hammer's not resting on a primer. So that's how you do it. And then when you're ready to fire, you simply pull back all the way on the hammer, and then put it on a nipple. And then you're ready to shoot. You pull back all the way, and then pull the trigger, and it'll hit the nipple, the primer on the nipple, and then it'll fire. And it's a single action, so you got to pull the hammer back each time to shoot it.